Million bags of R1,000,000 each. The Minister of Finance presents a budget of well over R1 trillion every financial year. R1 trillion equals 1,000,000 bags of R1,000,000 each. Imagine all these bags locked in a room under careful watch. This responsibility is ours as the Auditor General of South Africa. Our job is to strengthen the country's democracy through the auditing of the country's public finances. We monitor what happens to these million bags of R1,000,000 over the period for which they were earmarked, usually a year. It is the expectation of the public that all practical and possible measures are taken to protect and use these bags for the purpose intended. In the broadest form, members of the public contribute towards these bags. The money contained in these bags is intended to do the things that improve people's lives, making sure that clinics and hospitals are stocked with relevant supplies and medication, that our schools have books so that our children can learn, and that the pensions of many grandmothers in our country are paid at the end of each and every month. A whole lot of good is intended with the money in these bags, and keeping track of such monies is a big and important task. There are other levels of responsibility that we have as a country, and these may not necessarily seem like they are for your benefit. But when some citizens break the law, the police are required to intervene. The money in the public purse is there to make sure your rights as an individual are protected. The money in those million bags looks after this right. Our country needs to be protected from perceived harm from outside elements, and some of this money is used to provide this service. Tools of the trade include personnel, facilities and hardware, all for your benefit. Some of our people cannot provide for themselves as they may be too young, too weak or incapable for various reasons. We look at a provision for this sector in society, and so social security and related services are significant components of these million bags. Basic needs of life like shelter, water, food, sanitation, roads and lights would not be affordable if we were expected to pay our own way. Some of these bags are earmarked for this purpose, without which basic services would not be provided for, potentially leading to serious and grave situations. It is our responsibility to ensure that our future generations are cared for, and for this we make provisions for the preservation of the environment. This will benefit those who come after us. Some of our million bags will look after this. These bags are further given to the various municipalities and provincial governments to do the things which benefit our communities at large through the various services we receive from them. Sometimes at this point of arrival, things tend to fall apart. These bags need to keep on flowing to take care of all the necessary things that make life as we know it. How does the Office of the Auditor General reach the conclusion of how each municipality or government department or entity has fared on the use of the million bags of R1,000,000? The answer leads us to 5 types of audit conclusions contained in our analysis and accounting, or as we refer to them, our general reports. An unqualified audit with no findings, which is usually referred to as a clean audit, is when a municipality or government department has conducted the way it manages its finances well and transparently. They are able to show the things that were done, and they respected and observed all the laws. They have controls in place which enable them to do their job well, and that their use of the resources provided by the million bags of R1,000,000 is largely reliable and credible. Secondly, we issue an unqualified audit opinion with other matters or findings. This is where the municipality or government department is good at keeping the books. Unfortunately, they had neglected to check if the services they paid for had been received or done. They didn't necessarily do things in accordance with the laws that affect financial management matters. Quite a number of these required significant levels of assistance during the examination of their records. Without this assistance, they would have scored worse. In the third instance, a qualified audit is as follows. Here we find those government entities that do not keep accurate and transparent records in limited or isolated areas and have not ensured that they got what they paid for or acted in accordance with the laws that affect financial management matters. Our fourth category is the same as the third, except that these departments and municipalities have been unsuccessful in almost all areas of their operations. This is an adverse audit opinion. Finally, in the fifth category, we find those that are so unaccountable that they are unable to show most of the things they claim to have done with the bags. Nothing they have done makes sense, and nobody knows what's happened to the bags. The auditor in this instance cannot comment, hence the disclaimer of the audit opinion. Communication with those charged with governance and oversight. We communicate and inform those responsible for the million bags and advise them what caused the bags to not do what they were made available for. We then pass on the messages to those charged with looking after and securing these bags. The current picture is that in some cases not much had been done to meet the promises. On the upside, others have met their share of commitment, and we commend them for building reliable systems and processes to meet their promises. While the above conclusions have been reached, it is disappointing to note that a lot of these bags have been used to promote unfair advantage and undesirable activities, resulting in an irregular and unauthorized expenditure. This is where many of the bags are found to have been used in ways that were not originally catered for when the bags were made available through the public purse. This offends our sense of what is just and fair, and deals a telling blow to the principles stated in our Constitution and general laws that govern public life. Limitations of an audit. These outcomes are observed and examined in an environment where the auditors have limitations. At times, they are not able to examine all the records and so apply their judgment after they have taken into account other information and knowledge which they obtain through other work in an audit. They do not profess to give absolute conclusions on the evidence they obtain through their tests, but can be relied upon for a strong element of assurance in matters of integrity, governance, and accountability. The standards they apply to the records they examine carry a strong brand across many parts of the world. Any user of this information is assured that appropriate diligence, as provided for in these standards, has been applied and tried, and tested methods of independent examination have been employed. Root causes of the audit outcomes. It has been established through analysis of all the information of the financial statements reported on that there are significant root causes of the poor outcomes. Focus attention in the following areas of financial management will create a transparent and accountable execution of work. 1. We need to employ people in financial functions who have the required skills to manage finances and maintain an environment where all the records are accurate, reliable, and credible. 2. Key vacancies need to be filled, especially in the finance and service delivery position. 3. There needs to be consequences due to an undesirable audit to make sure that significant breakdowns in controls do not continue uncorrected. 4. Lastly, there needs to be a system that makes sure that those charged with oversight and governance of these entities have the abilities to correct this situation. The coexistence of the above conditions and others in any system is an indispensable part of restoring public confidence. Those charged with public affairs need to restore public confidence in their ability to look after their assets and benefits that flow from the exercise of their stewardship. When the above root causes are addressed, we should be able to experience a public service that boasts the following. A. Proper record keeping. B. Performance of daily and monthly routine controls. C. Production of regular and accurate financial and performance reports. D. Active review and monitoring of compliance. Currently, these key attributes are largely absent in the control environment of most of the entities we audit. Hence, the conclusions we have reached point to a vulnerability of these million bags of R1,000,000. The journey of restoring public confidence in the system of public administration, particularly financial and supply chain management, is ever more important in all the three spheres of government. Transparency and accountability are an indispensable part of this journey. If these are in place and all do the right thing, it is possible that the resources we command as a society are more than enough to achieve most of the aspirations we work and live to see realized. Auditor General, South Africa, auditing to build public confidence.